This animation has been designed to give jurors a clear understanding of the complex issues involved in closed head injuries. It is intended to be narrated by your expert witness as part of a video deposition or live at trial. We have included a sample narration here. While this is available as a customer service to verbatim clients, this copy is for review purposes only. The brain orchestrates all aspects of human functioning, feeling, and communication while operating within a very delicate bioelectrical, hormonal, and chemical balance. There are several factors that make the human brain susceptible to injury when it is subjected to the forces involved in a rapid acceleration-deceleration event. The consistency of the brain is soft, something like that of oatmeal or jello. The brain is enclosed in a rigid skull and is surrounded by cerebral spinal fluid. This fluid can act as a protective layer, but when sufficient force is applied, it allows the brain to move within the skull, making contact with the skull's irregular interior surfaces. Within the brain, communication is carried out by a vast network of nerve cells called neurons. All of our thoughts, movements, sensations, and emotions are made possible by communication between neurons. Neurons have specialized projections called dendrites and axons. Dendrites carry information to the cell body, and axons carry information away from the cell body. Neurons have many dendrites, but have only one axon. Axons can carry messages over long distances between groups of cells and are the primary transmission lines within the nervous system. While axons are very slender, they can also be very long. Axons can be up to 1 meter in length and can extend through multiple layers of brain tissue. Axons are covered by a protective myelin sheath, except at regularly spaced intervals called nodes of Ranvier. This structure allows for the rapid transmission of electrical impulses along the axons. It is also at these nodes that axons are most vulnerable to injury. Communication between neurons begins when a message in the form of an electrical impulse is sent from the cell body along the axon to the axon terminal, which forms a synapse with another neuron. This impulse causes chemical messengers called neurotransmitters to flow across a very small synaptic gap, which separates one neuron from another. These molecules bind to receptor molecules on the next neuron. When the brain is subjected to the trauma of a rapid acceleration-deceleration event, blood vessels and brain tissue can be damaged as the brain is forced against the interior contours of the skull. And when the brain rebounds against the opposite side of the skull. Also, when there is a rapid and forceful acceleration-deceleration of the brain, the forces impacting the brain tissue tend to be smallest on the lower part of the brain and greater as the distance from the head's axis of rotation increases. This effect can cause different layers of brain tissue to move relative to one another, creating a shearing effect upon the long axons which travel between multiple layers of brain tissue. On a cellular level, these forces result in stretching and tearing of delicate axons. These injuries impair the ability of the axons to transmit the electrical impulses which are necessary for communication within the brain. These injuries can also result in the release of excessive concentrations of chemicals which become toxic to the brain, causing further destruction of brain cells. Another mechanism of injury to brain cells is called cavitation. This takes place when the brain moves rapidly through its surrounding fluid, creating an area of low pressure behind the brain. Small vapor-filled bubbles form in the low-pressure area and then rapidly collapse as the brain moves in the opposite direction. This very rapid forming and collapsing of bubbles can cause further damage to brain tissue. Trauma to axons can also lead to a series of secondary injuries that develop over time. Even if the axon is not torn completely by the initial force, the trauma can cause swelling within the axon, which results in the axon splitting in two, and the formation of retraction balls. While these injuries may not be visually apparent and may not be detectable on diagnostic studies, they can set into motion a cascade of biochemical events that can cause significant problems with learning and memory. They can impair problem solving and concentration, disrupt sleep patterns, cause headaches, create emotional instability, and lead to a number of other conditions such as severe mood swings and depression. It is also possible to personalize this animation for individual clients by adding information such as the results of neuropsychological testing. If the head struck an object during the accident, that can also be illustrated. This animation can be narrated by your expert witness, either as part of a video deposition or live at trial. In either case, let your witness become familiar with the animation before the testimony so they will be comfortable explaining the concepts shown in the animation in their own words. When used as a part of your video deposition, the animation can be recorded from an LCD monitor or laptop screen while your expert witness provides the narration.